I managed to stay cool, calm and collected. This was a game changer. This is going to come across as quite simple. Hello guys, welcome back to another video. As you'll have seen by the title of today's video, I want to give you my tips and advice on how I got an A star in psychology at A level. It goes without saying that these are the things that helped me succeed in psychology. They might not work for you, but I thought that if I compile this into a video then it might help some of you. And yeah, I feel like for my first broad point, hard work is a given with any A level or any exam that you have to sit. I put in the work, and alongside these tips that I'm about to give you, that's what helped me succeed. It wasn't just if you do this, this and this, you'll succeed. You have to work at it and realise that it's a process and you're not always going to succeed every time. You're always going to forget things, but it's just what you do with that really counts, and it's always just pushing on and accepting failure sometimes. But yeah, let's go on with the video and the tips that helped me to get an A star in psychology. Okay, my first tip, really important for psychology, I think, especially because there is so much that you need to learn, so many pieces of research, facts, evaluation points, you name it, you have to learn it. And unfortunately, there's no getting around that. You do just need to know your stuff. However, I would say that what I did, this is going to come across as quite controversial, but I ignored a lot of the time what the teacher. Instead, I chose research and facts and evaluation points that I knew I understood better and that I would remember more easily. So just cherry pick the research that you're taught and be kind of savvy with it. By savvy, what I mean is pick research that could be used for multiple different exam questions. For example, I learned Ash's research you had to learn, and it was a key sort of research. You had to know the aim, procedure, conclusions, evaluation points for. But I used that research for other parts of social influence, so that it meant I didn't have to learn a new piece of research for informational social influence and then normative social influence. I just used that one piece of research and manipulated it so that it fit and worked. My teacher was quite impressed with that, so I think it worked for me, so maybe it will work for you. So to conclude, just be really selective with what you're learning and be savvy with it. Okay, so for the next tip, this is to help with evaluation points. Now, evaluation is probably the hardest part of psychology, where the big bucks are. It's where the money is, it's where the marks are, and yeah, I think it's the hardest thing to get points on because you have to have a certain understanding to be able to write past the facts that you have been taught. So what my teacher did, and I absolutely love my teacher for this, she's so organised, I just love it. We had to make for homework evaluation points for every possible essay and like area and topic that we were taught, so that if it came up in the exam we had like a rough idea of how the essay should look and the points and research that we would use. And oh my gosh, this was a game changer. I went a bit above and beyond what we were supposed to do. Initially we were told to just put a point, evidence, expansion and then link or appeal paragraph, just the points, but I took it to actually write it out as if I was in an exam, and this kind of helped with revision as well, but it meant that I already had tons of essays pre-written so that whenever I had to do an exam question for homework or was doing a mock exam. Revision was this. I'd done it all. Game changing. Really cannot push that this is so important to do evaluation points and make them so that you don't have to worry in the exam, oh my gosh, this research, I could use this, I could use that. Just clear that you've got 4 points, you've already planned them out, that's all you have to learn. Simple. So my third tip is to remake the workbooks that you're given for every topic. I don't know if that's the same across all colleges, but basically at my college we were given these for every unit, and it was basically we had to work through it. So in the end it kind of got a bit scruffy with pieces of paper flying around and pencil everywhere from me constantly making improvements. But I found that when it got to second year, a great revision tool is to remake your workbooks. And also I feel like it gave me a lot more clearer understanding, because I was having to write it out as if I was really like going to teach someone or give them a book for them to learn from. And yeah, I just always referred back to that, which is another point I'll come on to later. But yeah, it just really helped, because I found that these sometimes, while they're great, the teachers didn't always, they included things that I didn't need, and it wasn't always bang on the mark. So I made my own, and yeah, make workbooks for every topic. Really helpful. Remaking the workbooks in the second year, it also meant that I was going over things from first year, like social influence I did way back in September of the first year. I went back over it again in September of the second year, even though we were being taught other things at the same time. I was going back over things, so I constantly had social influence, memory, psychopathology clocking over in my brain, so that I didn't get to January of the second year and be like, oh my gosh, I haven't touched social influence for a year. So yeah, that's also something to bear in mind. The more I think about this point, the more I think actually this is probably one of the most crucial points. So my fourth point, and something that I touched on previously, is how crucial it is to revise from your stuff and your stuff only. There is so much research and facts and different statistics that you can use to your advantage in an exam that it can be really overwhelming, and you can sometimes feel like you're just learning too much and then none of it sticks. So what I did is only revised from my workbooks and only use the evaluation points that I had made and that I understood. My teacher would always be like, oh Becca, you could add this into it, or you could do this, you could use this research. But I knew that this is what worked for me, my research is good enough, and yeah, it helped, because in the lesson I managed to stay cool, calm and collected, because everybody else was like, oh, we could use this, yeah, let's write this down, and I was just like, nope, I have got my own things, don't confuse me. So I wasn't rude, that comes across as rude, but it's not. My teacher totally understood my way of learning, and she actually kind of liked that I had my own thing and knew what I was doing, and I was very independent. Make sure you've got everything that you need to learn, obviously. The reason why I stress this is because when you do homework, or if you do exam questions or mocks, if you only use your stuff, then, and mark with your stuff, you're constantly learning that selected piece of information about that point, so you're not getting confused. Because I was finding that I was trying to always add more research, add more facts, and in the end I just wasn't getting anywhere, because I was just confusing myself. I was like, oh, this research, oh, but then Rachel added this point, and oh, Rachel said to do this. It just got confusing. So just stick to your own boat. My fifth and final tip is kind of how I tested myself. I obviously was always doing exam questions and writing up essays that maybe my teacher had given us to do, but something that I was taught at my secondary school by my favourite science teacher, Mr. Gregory, hi if you're watching. The one way that I found really helpful to test my knowledge was I don't know what it's called, it's like red pen, green pen is what I was initially taught it was called. But basically, so I would do the standard make a mind map for each topic. Basically in the centre I'd put, for this one it's the origins of psychology, and then I'd do maybe the features of it and then the evaluation points. And then what I would do is I'd sit and just look at it for a minute, read it, try and take it all in, and then on a blank piece of paper I would, without looking at anything, just try and visualise and memorise and write down everything I could about the origins of psychology. And then what I did is, with a different coloured pen to the one I was writing with, go in and using the initial hard copy and fill in everything that I had gotten wrong or missed out. And I would be really, really, really particular about this. So for example, if I was doing one about Ash's research into conformity, if I'd written 124 students, I would change it to 123 American male students, because that's what it actually was, and in the exam they want you to be as specific as possible, so I was specific in my revision. I cannot tell you how much this helped me, just constantly rewriting it. If I got it wrong, rewrite it. If I got it right, good, but I need to rewrite it later so that I still remember it. And I'm just constantly, it's that sort of checking and testing your mind, because it's all very well making pretty mind maps, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but if you don't remember what's on those pretty mind maps, then they're pretty useless. So test yourself. Do always, always, always test yourself, because that's the only way you're going to know if you actually know anything. Okay? I think I've rambled on enough now, but if you did find this useful, then I'd love to know. Please let me know down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to make more videos in the future, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.